So we're about to head into the halfway mark of the year, and I am really proud of myself because I have been able to get through a lot of the TBR stacks that I have made for myself. Granted, a few books that I plan to read end up getting pushed to like the next month or so, but so far I've been like pretty on it with like reading almost every single book that I want to read for the month. And hopefully, it's going to be the same thing for June because I actually have a shorter stack than usual. And when I say shorter stack, I mean like four books instead of five. So that's going to be really interesting. And I guess just to get right into the books that I want to read for June, I have Pachinko by Minjin Lee, and I did want to read this book in May. Today is Thursday, May 28th, but I did not have time to get to this book. So when I read How to Fake a Southern Gentleman and The Shadow Carver by Nadine Matheson, I took like a week to read both of those books. So my reading kind of got like put off just a little bit. And I ended up reading, well, I'm reading it right now. I'm reading Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer. I hope that's how the author's name is pronounced. So I didn't get to this book. It is a pretty long book. I think it would have taken me more than a week to read this one during the month of May, only because things are, well, they were really, really busy. But today it's kind of the end of my busy time. And I know for a fact I will not be able to read all of this book before May ends on Sunday. So I'm just going to push it to June, and that's okay because I think I'm going to make this the first book that I read for June only because it is so long. And I feel like because it's so long, if I put it off into the end of the month, I feel like that's just kind of working against me because who knows how long I'll take to read other books before this one. So I feel like if I keep putting this to be the last book that I read for the month, I'm just never going to get to it. So I think I'm just going to make Pachinko the first book that I read in June. The second book that I hope to read in June is called The Revolution of Bertie Randolph by Brandy Colbert. So I read, I believe it's called Little and Lion. I'm pretty sure by this author. I read it like quite a few years ago. And to be honest, I don't remember if I had strong feelings about that book. I remember very, very small bits and pieces from that book, but I don't remember what like the bigger picture of that book was. I think I enjoyed it. I don't remember like hating it, but I also don't remember like loving it. I actually don't even have it. I ended up just giving it to my sister-in-law. I think it was a good book. I think it was just kind of okay for me. I don't know. But I actually got this one at a Dollar Tree. I remembered the author. I remembered like enjoying the book. Like I feel pretty neutral about it, so I do still want to try this author again. And I just think the cover is really really pretty. I don't feel like my phone is giving it any kind of justice because the yellow on here is like so vibrant, as well as the flowers on the girl's jean jacket. So it's a really pretty cover. I'm excited to read it, and I was also excited to find this at like a Dollar Tree and to read what it's about. On the inside flap it says, Dove Bertie Randolph works hard to be the perfect daughter and follow the perfect path her parents have laid out for her. She quit playing her beloved soccer, she keeps her nose buried in textbooks, and she's on track to finish high school at the top of her class. But then Bertie falls hard for Booker, a sweet boy with a troubled past, with whom she knows her parents will never approve of. With her estranged aunt, Carlene returns to Chicago and moves into the family's apartment above their hair salon. Bertie notices the tension building at home. Carlene is sweet, friendly, and open minded. She's also spent decades in and out of treatment facilities for addiction. As Bertie becomes closer to both Booker and Carlene, she yearns to spread her wings. But when long buried secrets rise to the surface, everything she's known to be true is turned upside down. So that sounds really intense. I really love family secrets. I love getting into like the chisme and just like the gossip of everyone's dirty laundry. So this sounds like it's going to be really fun. I believe this is also not a super long book. So this is 325 pages, so it's not super long. I'm also trying to not look at the text in here because I saw something and I just don't want to ruin it for myself. So it's 325 pages. I feel like having Pachinko and the Revolution of Bertie Randolph will be really good for me because Pachinko is really, really long and this one is going to be really short. So I feel like spacing out my reading for June shouldn't be as bad as it was for May. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to this book. The cover is super pretty, and I'm excited to also give Brandy Colbert another try. So this next book that I have, I've had for quite some time, and I'm trying to remember when I got this book. I didn't bother to check, but I know it's been like a good couple of years since I bought it, and that is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. So I had three books by this author at one point. I read Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones, and honestly, it was okay. It like took a little bit for me to like understand what was going on and to get into it. And it was fine. Like it was fine. It didn't really like do much for me, but I see a lot of my Bookstagram friends talking about this author, and I am like so behind in reading anything else by Stephen Graham Jones. So the three books that I had is Final Girl, which I am going to unhaul eventually. I still like have it stored away somewhere else, just not on my bookshelf, so that way I don't count it when I'm cataloging my books. I also have this one. And I like fell into like FOMO and I ended up buying, I don't think you can see it. I bought the Buffalo Hunter. So I still need to read more of Stephen Graham Jones, but I just keep buying books. And I've had this one for a long time, and I think this was the first book I ever had. So I am finally going to get to it. And to read the back, a tale of revenge, cultural identity, and the cost of breaking from tradition in this latest novel from the Jordan Peele of horror literature, Stephen Graham Jones. The Only Good Indians follows four American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent and vengeful way. So that sounds incredibly cool. I'm pretty sure I've heard good things about this book. Like I'm pretty sure I feel like out of all of the books by Stephen Graham Jones that I see on like Bookstagram, I feel like I see this one the most. So I'm really excited to read it. And I'm also hoping that I love this one way more than I liked Final Girl. So the fourth and final book that I want to read for June is going to be my ebook for the month. And I requested it off of Libby, and I don't think I'm going to have to wait long because it didn't have a long wait time. And I feel like it's been at least I can't remember, maybe 1 or 2 weeks since I requested it. So I feel like I should be getting it maybe 1 or 2 weeks into June. So we'll see. But I'm going to read this book with the same group that I read What Fell from the Sky by Adriana Cuevas with. And that was a really good book. And I'm really excited for all of the future books that we're going to be reading. So the last book that I'm going to read for June is called Ander and Santi Were Here by Johnny Garzavia. My hands are always so shaky when I have to hold my laptop in one hand, so I'll try and read this fast. The Santos Vista neighborhood of San Antonio, Texas, is all Ander Martinez has ever known. The smell of pan dulce, the mixture of Spanish and English filling the streets, and especially their job at their family's taqueria. It's a place that has inspired Ander as a muralist. And as they get ready to leave for art school, it's all of these things that give them hesitancy, that give them the thought, are they ready to leave it all behind? To keep Ander from becoming complacent during their gap year, their family fires them so they can transition from restaurant life to focusing on the murals and prepare for college. That is until they meet Santiago Lopez Alvarado, the hot new waiter. Falling for each other becomes as natural as breathing. Through Santi's eyes, Ander starts to understand who they are and want to be as an artist, and Ander becomes Santi's first steps towards making Santos Vista and the United States feel like home. Until ICE agents come for Santi, and Ander realizes how fragile that sense of home is, how love can only hold on for so long when the whole world is against them, and when, eventually, the world starts to win. So this is definitely going to be I feel like a very heavy read. This is very relevant to what is going on right now with ICE and just everything going on. And I also really like that the family is going to fire Ander to get them ready for college life. I feel like that is going to be really beneficial for them. And I feel like sometimes you just need like that extra kick to get started on your life, especially if you're going through a gap year. So I really like this transition from like being a kid to becoming a young adult. So that's going to be a really interesting dynamic to see. It definitely has a lot going on, and I'm really excited to read it with everyone. I actually don't want to wait super long now after like fully digesting what it's about and dissecting what I like. So that's going to be a really exciting book for June. So, as I mentioned, that's literally everything. Those are the four books that I hope to read for June. And honestly, for May, because we're still in May, I ended up picking up a book that wasn't originally in my TBR stack. So I'm pretty sure for June, I feel like there's going to be at least one other book that I end up picking up at random or for whatever other reason. So I say four, but anything goes, anything can happen. And May was just way too much of a busy month. And I feel like June maybe hopefully you won't be as busy. So that is really everything that I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to show off what books that I hope to read for June. So this is going to be very short, very sweet, which I desperately need because May just absolutely kicked my ass. So I just want a little bit more rest. So that is everything that I have for you today. I would love to know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned. I know a lot of people have read Pachinko, and I definitely have not heard any spoilers, but I also don't know if people's general consensus about the book. I think people like it, and I haven't really heard any like thoughts or opinions about the other books I mentioned. So these are kind of like a wild card for me, honestly. So let me know if you've read any of the books I mentioned, or let me know what you hope to read in June. That is it for me. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and I hope that I see you next time.